Welcome to WeLearn Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 26, Modern Religious Movement 2, Arya Samaj. Topics which we are going to cover in this session are Introduction, Need for Reform, Foundation of the Arya Samaj Movement and Reform. Coming towards the introduction. In this session, we point out the need for reform in Indian society that was noticed and accepted upon by the Arya Samaj. We started with the founding of the Arya Samaj, the rules of the Arya Samaj, and who were the first members. We then go on the Arya Samaj movement with respect to reforms. This is with the reference to the challenges to Hinduism, the emancipation of women, and the role of Arya Samaj in politics. The material for the session is derived from the books given in further reading at the end of the unit. Next topic is Need for Reform. Swami Dayanand, the founder of Arya Samaj, was born in 1824 when India was ruled by British. Dayanand was the son of Brahmin father and mother. His education started at the age of 5, and in the 8th year he was invested with the sacred threads. Dayanand's religious transformation occurred when at the age of 14 he was asked to observe the fast of Shivratri. Dayanand and his father went to a temple for the prayer and chanting mantra. As Dayanand watched a mosque climb the statue of Shiva and then began eating the offerings. The important problem of those days was the problem created by British rule and a host of other evils that branched out from colonial oppression of India. These included the threat of mass level conversion of the Indias to Christianity, the custom of untouchability that condemned Shudras to a subhuman existence, the low status of women, the Prudh system, child marriage, illiteracy, and also the most unfortunate sati system. These problems made Dayanand restless and uneasy. The idea was that India would only produce raw material for British factories and serve as a captive market for their machine-made goods. This was made possible due to India's backwardness, superstitiousness, multiplicity of saints, gurus and sub-faiths, each running down the other. Finally, there was the predominance of the Brahmin priest who made other movements like bhakti initially difficult to follow by their reprobation. This palintoria of problems started Dayanand straight in the face, and he felt that he must do something about it. Untouchability held away from the Hindus who did not touch millions of their own brothers. The Shudras of fear of pollution. If they did, they had to take a cleansing bath. There was a question of interdining with them. The Hindu would not divide it into a large number of saints and sub-saints, each with their own guru and their main scripture. Questioning and inquiry was not their method. Whatever was written in their sacred books and interpreted by their guru became their creed. Foundation of Arya Samaj. Swami Dayanand took an important and far-reaching decision during his tour to Bombay in 1875. This decision was regarding the foundation of Arya Samaj. This organization was founded in plant his message and bring reform family to the soil of the North India. It went on to have an enormous impact on the development of Hinduism and of Indian nationalism. The idea of an organization had been in Dayanand's mind for some time. He had tried several times earlier to form a society, once in Amha in 1872 and again at Benares in 1874, but both attempts had been short lived. On January 16, 1875, he stepped up the Arya Samaj at Rajkot, but it did not flourish. Again, in January 1875, he set up another Arya Samaj at Ahmedabad, but this attempt too failed. But on April 10, 1875, he set up the Arya Samaj at Bombay. It proved very successful. In Bombay, a combination of factors created the right atmosphere for his renewed attempts to spread the influence of Arya Samaj. It may also be considered that by now Dayanand had a better preparation for setting up an organization than earlier times. It may be considered that Dayanand wanted to bring together all Hindus who agreed on a couple of very broad issues: a dedication to religious and social reforms, and a conviction in Hinduism that reforms was to come through a revival of Vedic religion. Being organized as a body, these people would be more effective in helping one another, in influencing the whole society. Swami Dayanand was not interested in creating a body of followers to propagate his idea. He held the opinion that reforms had to come from the people themselves. On the basis of several attempts of his, we can conclude that from the very beginning, Dayanand conceived his own role in the Samaj as anything but the dominant one. It was not his idea that the Samaj could become the esoteric heaven of a selected few, but rather that it could be a board based and open association that could unite all Hindus of goodwill around the unifying center of their religion, namely the Vedas. These fundamental attitudes of Dayanand towards the Samaj gradually become stronger as the association itself grew in later years. Organization of Arya Samaj. Membership involved acceptance of the 10 principle of rules, the payment of 1% of monthly or yearly income to help the cause and general cooperation and participation in meetings, etc. The executive committee governed the affairs of the Arya Samaj. The officers are president, vice president, secretary, accountant, and the librarian. Next, there is a provisional assembly where representatives of Samaj play an important part. The apex body, however, is the All India Assembly. They are young men, Arya Samajis, which are liberal in admitting members who believe in God and pay a nominal monthly subscription for the membership. It may be pointed out that the Samaj has its meeting place anywhere it can organize them, whether they are their own building or any other place which will suffice and is available. Rules of Arya Samaj. The Bombay Arya Samaj started with 28 rules which touch religious, social, educational, and organizational matter. Some of these rules are as follows. The Arya Samaj is necessary for the good of all the people. Each province shall have a principal Samaj with branches at as many places as possible. Once a week, there shall be a meeting of the Samaj where Sam Veda mantra shall be sung. There may be lectures and songs in praise of God with the accompaniment of instrumental music. The Samaj shall maintain a library of Sanskrit and Hindi books shall maintain accounts, publish a paper, run Arya schools separately for boys and girls. Learned men would be sent about to purge truth at other places. Members should love other members as they love themselves. All ceremonies should be performed according to the Vedas. Any dishonest and wicked member could be expelled, but not through prejudice or partisanship. The 10 rules were adopted on July 24, 1877. These are the fundamental tenet of Arya Samaj, and all Aryas are expected to conform to them. The first two are related to God and the third to the Vedas. God and the Vedas are the basis of Arya Samaj. The rest are a guide to the conduct of the moral man. These 10 rules are: God is the primordial root of all true knowledge. God is all truth, all knowledge, all bliss. Vedas are the books of all true knowledge. We should always be ready to accept truth and reject untruth. All action should be performed according to Dharma. The principle of this Samaj is to do good to the world, physical, mental, and spiritual. We should deal with people with love, righteousness, and consideration of their merit. We should work for the liquidation of ignorance and promotion of knowledge. No one should be content with his own upliftment but should feel his own good in the good of all. All men are obliged in having to obey the social laws and they have framed for the good of all, but everyone is free to work for his own welfare. For instance, one is not free to break the traffic laws or commit thief or murder, for all such laws are there for the good of all. But in all personal matter concerning one's individual good, one has freedom. That means one has freedom of action, but not at the cost of the well-being of others. Members of the Arya Samaj. Accordingly, a committee of 22 was elected, and the list is very impressive one. Half of the members have a university degree, 5 MAs, 3 doctors, 1 lawyer, and 2 BAs. By 1877, not more than a dozen Punjabis could have gained the degree. It means that nearly half of that number were on Samaj committee. If half of the committee could boast of a university degree, the presumption is that many other Arya had matriculation and higher degree. Thus, we can conclude that Lahore Arya Samaj Committee was indeed representative of the cream of educated Punjabis. Of the 22 committee members, only one was a Brahmin, whereas probably over 80% were Khatris. That was in sharp contrast to the educational qualification of Bombay Arya Samaj membership. Swami Dayanand was lucky in bringing in such intellectual stalwarts as had the capacity to greatly evaluate the Samaj and its program to a very high standard. Publication of Ved Abhashya. Swami Dayanand always swore by the Vedas, but whenever someone quoted any mantra from Veda giving traditional meaning to it, Dayanand always put his own interpretation on it. And persuasion of some of his friends, Dayanand started working on his Veda Bhasha with enthusiasm. He said that most of the Vedic mantra had a triple meaning. One related to sacrifice and ritual. Second, spiritual and philosophical meaning. And third is the scientific meaning. Swami Dayanand devoted some of the last years of his life to the achievement that involved him and his Samaj with the wider world of Hinduism. His public notice at Hardwar was clearly stated the policy, consequences, not controversies, was to be the guiding motto. The Arya Samaj, which was already showing some learning towards sectarianism, had to become the rally point of all Hindus of God goodwill and had to be accepted by Hindus as such. The collaboration with the Theosophist was promoted by these institutions, by these intention, and so for the composition of board of trustee of the Porokharani Sabha. But the most significant move in this direction was the involvement of the Aryas in the following three successive agitations. This is Indramani case, cow protection, and popularization of Hindi. Each of these cases brought many Hindus together across the barrier of caste, Sikhet, and provisionalism. By its enthusiastic participation, the Arya Samaj could project the image of being the protagonist of bold Hindu nationalism. In fact, these movements or agitations were not originally launched by Dayanand, but he came to the assistance of these movements that were well launched and to which a large number of Hindus were deeply committed. Thus, Dayanand steered his Samaj towards closer cooperation with Orthodox and sectarian Hindus and anticipated the moment of Sanghathan, consolidation and integration of the whole Hindu community. Another important indication of the widening of Dayanand's outlook is that in the last year of his life, for the first time, he paid attention to South India. Next topic is Arya Samaj movement and reform. The Arya Samaj opened a vast number of educational institutions for boys and girls all over the North India. Orphanages were opened and thus Christian missionaries were prevented from converting people to Christianity. Arya Samaj worked on earthquake relief in 1923 when the Mopals of Malabar forcibly converted Hindus to Islam. It was the Arya Samaj who converted them to Hinduism before Mahatma Gandhi took up the case of untouchables. It was the Arya Samaj who had tried to get them recognized as equal members of Hindu society. They also carried on a careless effort to remove their suspension and teach them the fundamental doctrines of religion. Dayanand formed many gurukuls as a part of the Arya Samaj educational program. The first DAV college was founded in Lahore to commemorate Dayanand's memory after his death in Ajmer in 1883. This institution became a focal point of national education in the country. The idea of the founders of Lahore College was to introduce the semantic temperament in the student without uprooting them from their spiritual, cultural, religious mourning. Three challenges to Hinduism. The Hindu religion grew and flourished and had the capacity to absorb any new religious force, and its perpetuity was taken for granted. But thrice in recorded history, it had faced decisive challenges, once from Buddhism and Jainism, later from Islam, and lastly from Christianity. Arya Samaj has performed an important social mission during the third and the last crisis in Hinduism, which came from the British rule. Arya Samaj successfully stopped the tide of mass conversion to Christianity. Arya Samaj and emancipation of women. Women like Harijans have been called slaves of the slaves. Of the British era, men were the slaves of the British and women were the slaves of these enslaved men. Men had few rights, little freedom, and were rarely considered as equal to men. Dayanand, the founder of Arya Samaj, was among the pioneers of women's rights and equality in modern times. He advocated the equality of genders. Dayanand encouraged women to study the Vedas, a revolutionary step at that time. They were allowed to recite Gayatri Mantra while tradition did not permit them to privilege. Dayanand forcefully put forward the argument that women's rights account for 200 mantra in the Rig Veda. He also carried on a crusade against child marriage. Dayanand ordained that no girl should be married till she was 16 and boy should marry at 25 or above. Thus, he confronted and the so-called Shastric injunction that if a girl had her means in her father's house, the father and brother would go to hell. This idea was ridiculed by Dayanand. His argument was shy. Should anyone go to hell because of natural function? Dayanand's stand was that men or women should marry only once. For a young widow, this perception was the niyoga rather than widow marriage. To him, niyoga meant temporary union with the dead husband's brother or other kin to get a child or two, but not more than two. But his concept of niyoga was not accepted by the Aryas. Dayanand, in a true democratic spirit, did not press his point. Politics and the Arya Samaj. Dayanand was not just a social and religious reformer, he was also a forerunner in the national and the political awakening of India. The Arya Samaj was founded in 1875, a decade before the Ildiyatar National Congress. Dayanand had prepared the ground and declared that foreign government is no substitute for self-rule. Lala Lajpat Rai has mentioned that the British had always viewed the Arya Samaj with suspicion. This often took the form of deportation, prospectus, etc. of its members. Arya Samaj was considered a seditious body. Members were dismissed from civil and military service solely on the ground that they were members of the Arya Samaj. The open declaration of the desired and political freedom at a time when jailing was common for such utterance showed a great deal of moral courage from its member. The Arya Samaj, however, always mentioned it was a religious, social, and culture organization. In bringing about the transformation of the loyalist character of the Indian National Congress to a mass political movement by Mahatma Gandhi, Arya Samaj movement played a significant role as admitted by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the first president of India. The Congress also took over most of the social reform as advocated by the Arya Samaj as part of the national movement. The Arya Samaj stand on political freedom and socio-cultural change was indicated when the Congress adopted the removal of untouchability, the emancipation of women, and other reforms. Swami Dayanand and Arya Samaj movement have contributed in the national movement in the following ways. Support of the Hindi language, Swadeshi and Khadi were supported, opposition to salt taxes was agreed upon and supported. Some critics have dubbed Swami Dayanand as a reactionary looking back towards the dead past because he gave the call back to Vedas. Yet, Dayanand unshared in modern action in India just as Gandhiji and did half a century later. Now, in the last, there are a few questions which are based on this session. Question number one is write a note on the educational qualification of the members of Lahore Arya Samaj. Use about 3 to 5 lines of your answer. Question number two is elaborate the role of Arya Samaj for the emancipation of women. That's all for this session. Thank you. Happy learning, we learning.